Welcome to the Wrestling Fans Insight Podcast. I'm your co-host John Hoppy, along with William Hoppy. Hey, Will, how's it going today?
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's been definitely quite the weekend. Been real busy this week, so I haven't really had any time to catch up on any programming. So this week, we're basically going to be relying on Will's reviews. So bear with me. I'm going to stick with my Cliff Notes version. I've been out camping for the weekend, and I just barely got back. And could pretty much say it was a little miserable. Not so much the camping part, but my air conditioner on the trailer, apparently we found out the hard way, is not working. So, yeah. Anyways, a little overheated, exhausted. But hey, we're going to get through this episode, and we'll hopefully try to get things moving along quick and be a little more prepared for next week. All right, without any further ado, let's go ahead and kick it off with WWE Monday Night Raw from June 6th. In the results, we had Dana Brooke retain her 24/7 championship against Becky Lynch, little help with Asuka. Riddle defeating The Miz after a nice little promo talking about how small the balls on The Miz are. Street Profits getting the win over the Usos in a championship contenders match for the possible chance of maybe earning a shot for the Undisputed Tag Team Championship. Veer Mahan defeats Dominic Mysterio via disqualification thanks to Ray. Omos defeats Cedric Alexander. Ezekiel defeats Otis in a quick match. And in the main event for the night, in a fatal four-way for the next challenger for the Raw Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley defeats Doudrop, Alexa Bliss, and Liv Morgan. What's your thoughts and takeaways on that, Will?
On the Fatal 4-Way?
Well, just overall, well, why don't we just go ahead and start off with
I'll just
Dana Brooke and Becky Lynch.
Okay. So, this wasn't the best match ever. It was designed for the 24/7 title to be introduced into it. It was originally just going to be Becky Lynch versus Dana Brooke. And of course, the 24/7 shenanigans came in. And I thought it kind of took away from the match. I didn't like this match.
And, you know, when I was doing my Cliff Notes and reading along the dirt sheets, kind of interesting note because I kind of felt the same way. It almost feels like the 24/7 shenanigans is just kind of being forced upon the fans to some degree. Do you feel that same way?
I feel that way. I think it's being forced, obviously, upon the wrestlers, too. And it's taken away from what could be a great match.
Right. And I mean, Dana Brooke over the years has definitely improved quite a bit in the ring. I just would like to see it not be for a title that's kind of supposed to be the comedic part of the night. And unfortunately, I even think the 24/7 title now is just, in a way, lost its comedic run, in a way, I guess you can say.
It's value. It's just pointless.
Yeah, it's definitely just feels like it's not really needed in the promotion anymore.
I feel the way about this title that I feel about the FTW Championship in AEW.
Well,
it really doesn't get served its purpose that well.
That's true. Although I do think the FTW Championship has somewhat a little more meaning. I just wish maybe Tony Khan or would either have AEW or Ring of Honor even maybe look at sanctioning that as one of their championships.
Yep, agreed.
Then moving on to Riddle and The Miz.
This pretty quick match. Like, it was an extremely quick match. Riddle basically dominated the crap out of The Miz. And that was it.
Well, and I read there was quite this little bit of
there's a lot of heckling going on.
Well, a little bit of the segment there with Riddle calling them.
You can say it.
Small balls.
Tiny balls.
Tiny balls, is that what it was?
Yep.
And Maurice told him, no, he has average man balls or whatever.
Yep. Then it turned into gigantic, enormous, bigger than everybody's. I don't know. Maurice sold that pretty good.
I'm surprised that she didn't say they're awesome balls, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, lordy.
Profits versus the Usos. This was a great match. I really didn't like the count out ending that went on with it, but it was exactly what I would have expected. You know, the Profits and the Usos are a couple of teams that really, really just mesh well together.
So with that being said, I didn't read the part where it was a count out victory. That was my bad. Do you feel with that count out victory that the Usos may earn, or not the Usos?
Profits.
Sorry, still kind of recovering from my camping trip. But do you think the Profits, in a way, have earned their shot for the championship the way that match was done?
The ending, no. The work that they put into the match, absolutely. The ending, just... I've never been a fan of count-out endings.
No, if it makes sense, that's one thing. Kind of like what they did with Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre for that few weeks there on SmackDown, where Sami Zayn kept finding a way to walk out on the match until they finally led it up to a steel cage match. That's one thing, but when it's a contenders match and you got a team that
You've got the unified.
You got a legitimate tag team right there that should be noteworthy as a candidate challenger for those titles.
And for that to be something that goes towards them having a championship opportunity, that's where I really disagree with the count-out ending.
Yeah. Now, if it was like a disqualification or something to show dominance of the faction, that's one thing, but the chicken shit count-out just, it never works really well for many. And moving on to Veer Mahan defeating Dominic Mysterio via...
This was a good match.
Via disqualification. The only thing I really read up was...
It was a really good match. Yeah, Dominic actually held in quite a bit, through quite a bit of offense. Ray interfering, causing, DQ was really not great. But I do like where they're going with the storyline with these guys.
And I didn't really watch a whole lot of it, but again, not to keep quoting the dirt sheets out there, but yeah, it was actually very well received from the, I guess you call it, experts out there that have been watching. They said this was a great continuation to the whole Mysterio Veer storyline.
It really is, because you're starting to see momentum gain behind the Mysterios.
Kind of starting to see maybe they found a way to maybe work around Mahan. And even then, with Mahan working a little more, I'm sure this is making him look even better as well.
Yeah, we got to see a little more expertise in the ring out of him with a match that didn't, end in 2 minutes.
Nice. And I kind of made a side note because I really wasn't covering much of the promos as much as, how I feel about promos overtaking matches on any program. But one promo I had to make note.
The Judgment
Day. Finn Balor being added, but yet now they take out Edge. That... I'm not making any logical sense out of that. We had Edge turn heel just pre-WrestleMania.
Right.
And we're just little over 2 months after Edge has formed this faction.
And all of a sudden,
now he's being kicked out.
All of a sudden, his expertise is nothing.
I
wrote down Edge got discarded.
I don't get that. I mean, I get adding another member, but I don't get taking out the leader right away.
Yeah. I would have expected something like that, like a year or two down the road, as we've seen in other factions.
Well, not even necessarily a year, maybe 6 months or later, but yeah, just 2 months, and now you're going to make Edge seem like the good guy, or maybe we're kind of getting swerved. Maybe this is just going to end up being that Edge planned this all along to see if, Damian Priest and Balor had it in them all along to make the attack on Edge to see how deep they would go. But I don't think it's going to go that direction. I think they were turning Edge back to being face or something.
Yeah, I get the same feeling. So, then on to Omos versus Cedric Alexander. What I wrote down exactly word for word here was that 10 seconds.
Yeah, from what I read, it was
short.
They said, hope you didn't blink because then you missed the match.
Yeah, it was seriously short.
But then just shortly after, it was weird that there was a promo about to be, I guess, the Dirty Dogs getting interviewed, and MVP and Omos took exception to that, and Ziggler ends up super kicking MVP.
Yep.
So, are the Dirty Dogs now a face team all of a sudden?
I wasn't sure. This one was confusing to me. It just seemed really out of place. And maybe they're just adding a little more to Omos's plate.
Yeah, that could be. I just... yeah, this definitely was kind of just seems a little off. I mean,
it was.
Maybe if I actually took the time to watch Raw this week, I could get a better understanding. But
no,
just seeing it on paper, it's kind of like creative was in a spaghetti mess this week or something.
Yeah, this one was off. It wouldn't have mattered if you actually watched it. It was off.
Yeah, lordy.
The whole show, the whole night, really the only thing that was really, really good was that Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah, and we'll get to that here in a minute.
Yep.
Yeah, my next set of notes, Ezekiel ends up defeating Omos. Or not Omos, Judas Priest.
Otis. I always like watching Otis wrestle.
Oh, yeah, Otis is always a fun guy to watch.
He's freaking amazing. And, I mean, Ezekiel, he's good. He is. Overall, this was an okay match. I was more interested in, afterwards, the challenge issued out to Kevin Owens.
Yeah, Owens eventually gets Zeke to say, yes, I'm Elias, but then after Owens agrees to the match, he says, oh, I'm lying.
Yeah.
That's kind of classic.
Yep. Okay.
Something you normally would expect a heel to do, but this time it was the face.
Yeah. Fatal 4-Way. This was a great match. These ladies killed it. There was nothing bad about this match. Everybody was on point. The physicality was there. You saw some teamwork going on between the two little blondes, which was real fun to see. Dewdrop work with that. She did a pretty good job in the whole thing. Rhea Ripley, of course, scores that victory. And
as she should.
Yeah. She really kind of earned it. She put herself so much into that match.
Well, and I love the direction they've taken Rhea. I always thought she should have been that heel more than she should have been a face the whole time. I mean, she was the first NXT Women's Champion, but that was very short-lived when they eventually had Toni Storm go over on her, and I just don't think that title reign was very long. Much like the NXT Women's Championship reign that Rhea had, that wasn't very long either.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that if she does end up winning the Raw Women's Championship, hopefully it'll be even longer reign than the first time she held the Raw Women's Championship. All three of her main title runs pretty much with the same consistency, not very long, but I think as long as they can keep Judgment Day going, this would be a good way to have Rhea win the championship and
be more solid.
Give the Raw Women's Championship a little more prestige out there.
Yeah.
I mean, Becky did a great job making it prestigious, don't get me wrong. Bianca, she's deserving of a long run herself. However, I'm just not seeing I'm making the prediction early. I think Rhea ends up defeating Bianca for the Raw Women's title.
Hmm. Yeah, nope. I have nothing on that. I want to see it.
All right, back from our break. We're going to get right into the NXT 2.0 results from Tuesday, June 7th. First match, we had Josh Briggs getting the win over Von Wagner. That one was a little surprising when I read that. We move on to Nathan Frazer getting the win over Santos Escobar. We see the return of Apollo Crews, who apparently came in, looked like right in the midst of Braun Breaker's promo. Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we have the finals of the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament, which I kind of felt like this was how it was going to turn out. Roxanne Perez gets the win over Tiffany Stratton. And then we have Pretty Deadly, who gets the win over, I guess, what was originally supposed to be Andre Chase and Bodie Hayward.
Yeah.
But it ends up being Thea Hale. Isn't that the gal that just graduated high school?
Yes.
Wow. I'm surprised they went that quick with her. And then we had Alba Fire defeating Tatum Paxley. And in the main event, Apollo Crews and Solo Sikoa defeat the team of Carmelo Hayes and Grayson Waller. Yeah, it looks like this was a shorter card than usual as far as match-wise. But
it was good content.
On paper, it looked really well.
Yeah. So, Briggs versus Wagner. That was actually a really, really good match up until the use of the cast.
Oh, so I'm guessing Brooks Jensen came in and whacked him?
Yep. Yeah, his hand is doing pretty good.
Showed no pain after the hit?
Oh, no, he bragged about it after the match.
Oh, Lordy. I guess Von Wagner got just what he deserved, in a way, if you look at it, storyline-wise. I just kind of saw, when I read that result, I had to do a double take. I'm like, you would think the way they've been booking Wagner, he would still find a way to beat a guy the same size as him.
It was a really good back-and-forth match.
Especially when you think Von Wagner should be pretty much right there in contention for Braun Breaker's NXT championship. But to me, it doesn't make any sense to have him fall to a tag team wrestler. But like I said, it kind of seemed like after reading this week's results, creative was all over the place with a lot of things, maybe trying some different things to surprise us fans, and that apparently was one of them.
Yep.
And then we move on to Nathan Frazer, who defeated one of the newest members of the family, I guess, Santos Escobar.
Yeah, this was actually a really great match, and I know you didn't get really a chance to watch it, but it kept going back and forth between Escobar and Frazier. Awesome moves, good, solid match, and you would see Tony D'Angelo, bad-mouthing Escobar throughout the match, giving him directions to cheat. They even at one point provided the crowbar, to which Escobar shoved it out of the ring.
Almost like he was pretty much resisting everything D'Angelo wanted, which I think everybody was going to see this coming.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to Apollo Crews. That was one heck of a reception from the crowd.
And I heard that he pretty much ditched that fake accent and all that other garbage.
That crap is gone.
Oh, thank the Lord.
Something creative finally did right.
Yeah, it's just doesn't make sense to have someone fake an accent like they had Kofi do when he first started. Try to do that whole Jamaican accent when Kofi first debuted in the WWE.
Yeah, no, for me, it seemed like for a while there with Apollo Crews, they were just basically using him as a whipping post.
Yeah. Yeah, I even though Apollo's had short runs with the United States Championship and Intercontinental Championship. I don't think they gave him the respect that he deserves as a talent. But
No.
maybe coming back to NXT, who knows? Maybe he'll get a chance to win either the North American Championship or the NXT Championship.
I'm
And
kind of leaning towards the NXT Championship.
I would think so. I'm not saying he's above the North American Championship.
No, but he would be a killer match for Carmelo Hayes, too.
Yeah, I think he could have great matches with both Hayes, Breaker, any of the rising talent there in NXT.
Yep. Let's see.
Then we move on to Roxanne Perez defeating Tiffany Stratton in the NXT Women's Breakout.
Yeah.
Champion or finals, I guess you can say.
Yeah, this was an excellent match. They both actually did really good, and I made note that Stratton is doing good. I'm not a particular fan of her because I don't think she gels that well as a wrestler, but more as that athlete.
Right. And again, bringing up the dirt sheets, they said this was actually one of Stratton's best matches.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. It was a good match. And then after the match, you have Toxic Attraction come out, knock that contract out of Perez's hand, and basically say, hey, you're never going to have this. You're never going to be me.
So now the question is she going to team up with Cora Jade to go for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship? Or
that is the question. It's her choice.
Or do you think she'll go right toward Mandy Rose, right to the head?
I think she's going to go for Mandy.
I think that would be interesting if she did. But I could also see the way Cora Jade's been behind Roxanne. You never know. I could see them going toward the tag team title situation too.
Yeah.
Either way, you can't really go wrong with whichever direction they decide to go with her.
No.
Being the former Ring of Honor Women's Champion, Roxanne's, as we've seen, is a pretty good hand.
Yeah. And then Pretty Deadly versus Chase. So
look a little different without those NXT Tag Team Championships, don't they?
Yeah, but they've looked different the whole time. The whole time they've been wrestling. So I am impressed with how good a wrestlers Pretty Deadly are.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't get much of a showing when they first arrived at NXT. It was really, really short-lived as far as their debut. But no, they did a really good match. Chase held in there for a while. And it was kind of an okay match.
Well,
which is obviously going to happen when you have 2-on-1.
Right. And
my big question to it was the directionality of it. Why all of a sudden is Chase being thrown in all these random matches?
Well, and I didn't get a chance to really read in detail what happened with Bodie Hayward.
He got attacked before.
Oh, by Pretty Deadly?
Yeah.
Okay, that's because I'm sitting there reading, and I didn't see anywhere where it said Pretty Deadly attacked or whoever attacked.
Yeah, no, he eventually crawled out to the ring.
Right.
With, what's her name? Thea?
Thea Hale.
Yeah. And basically stated, hey, he needs our help. So she jumped up there on the ring to provide support, but...
Yeah, obviously, the female's not going to get tagged in this kind of a match.
No.
But, yeah, it's weird because you would think as good of a talent as Andre Chase is, they would do a little bit of a better job. I kind of feel like he's been the Barry Horowitz or the Iron Mike Sharp of NXT, He's just kind of been used as the enhancement talent, but hopefully at some point they'll see what Andre Chase's worth is and get him a little bit more into some better spots as far as NXT goes.
Right. And then Alba Fire versus Tatum Paxley. This was a good match. It wasn't anything extremely wonderful. But the one note that I made about it is that Tatum is definitely getting a lot better each week.
Oh, yeah. She's just like any of the other up and new coming talent. The more she gets some time in TV and in the ring, she will get better.
Yeah, I'm not big on calling, Kaylee Ray Alba Fire.
No, I'm, I've already,
I'm disgruntled about that.
yeah, I'm not going to get much into it. I've already made my points clear in previous episodes about name changes. Unfortunately, it is what it is.
Yep.
But now that we see Alba Fire get the win over Tatum, do we now see Lash Legend have a match with Alba Fire?
Possibly. Love to see it.
I mean, as much as she ran her mouth the week before, you would think that's what the direction's going to go. And hopefully this match does happen, because I think after she worked shortly with Natty in that tag match a few weeks back, I think putting Lash Legend in the ring with Alba Fire, and hopefully they'll let Alba Fire call the spots in that match and help Lash out, because again, I think Lash has got it. I think she just needs to get more time with the veterans in there.
Yeah, I would agree. She needs more mentorship. Carmelo Hayes and Waller versus Apollo Crews and Solo Sikoa. This was just an awesome match. It was physical as hell. And as any good match should, it went back and forth, back and forth. It was close several times. Eventually, I believe it was Crews that got the pinfall victory.
Right. Not Solo.
Yeah.
There was I guess in the notes, it was a spinning bomb move that Crews has been doing, I guess, forever, and
yeah,
that's what got the victory.
Yeah. And
a little odd, based on the promo that started it off NXT, even though we didn't really talk in detail about that. We had Solo Sikoa challenging Carmelo Hayes for the North American Championship, which I found that a little odd. Was Cameron Grimes in the program at all?
I don't think he was. I don't recall seeing him.
Yeah, see, I'm a little baffled as to why you didn't have the former champion right there. Especially just losing the title at In Your House.
No, maybe he's on vacation.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe.
But I want to see them go further with Waller.
Well, yeah, I think...
Because he's always up in everybody's business in NXT.
Oh, yeah. Well, Waller getting... pretty much inserting himself in that promo. I'm a little awestruck by that, because it doesn't make any sense for him to be involved in it.
But he's enough of a talent at this point that I think he'd actually be fine if he actually moved up main roster already.
Yeah, you never know. He's kind of got that MJF quality in the NXT and maybe all of WWE. He's always taken it one step further to keep drawing the heat bigger and bigger on him, and who knows? Maybe if MJF leaves AEW in 2024, that would make some interesting times right there, to have two big heels in the industry kind of just go right there neck and neck at each other in the same promotion, but who knows? All right, let's kick off with Friday Night SmackDown. The first match, Money in the Bank qualifier, looks like it was a no contest between Drew McIntyre against Sheamus.
It was a double DQ, because they both picked up a chair and smacked each other's chairs after an extremely physical match. This ending pissed me off, because this was supposed to be, a match that led to somebody moving to the Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
Why would you do this?
That doesn't make sense to have a no contest for that.
Yeah.
Scratching my head again. All right. Then in the match number 2 for the women's Money in the Bank qualifier, Lacey Evans making her in-ring return, defeating Xia Li.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a great match. This went back and forth, and eventually Evans threw out, the woman's right.
Oh, her punch finisher or whatever?
Yep. She actually got a running head start on it.
Oh, really?
Yep, right across the ring and right into Xia.
Oh, man.
And Zaya's both of them are looking really good because neither one of them have really had that much airtime.
No, the only disappointment is where Zaya's been on TV a little more recently. It kind of sucks to see her take a loss, especially for what a great talent she is in the ring.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been wanting to see them push her further up the ladder for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's done enough to earn her way to be there. I just hope they find a way to utilize her a little more and put her in some better scenarios than what they have been.
Yeah.
And then Ronda Rousey gets challenged by Shotzi, but unfortunately for Shotzi, Rousey manages to tap her out for the win.
Yeah.
And we see Natalya make the attack on Rousey right after.
Yeah, but the great thing about this match was that Shotzi got to actually showcase herself a lot more.
Well, Shotzi's always been a great talent.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really disappointed when they had her turn heel. And even with turning her heel, they didn't utilize her much.
No, they didn't. But that, like I said, this is the excellent part of this match is that we got to see more of her.
Yeah, and I think the women in WWE right now are neck and neck with the women in Impact, even though we don't talk much about Impact in this program. Hopefully in the future we're going to change that here shortly. I got some different plans for this show going forward. We'll eventually make that announcement here in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned. But moving on, Shotzi is just, like I said, I'm not going to beat a dead horse too much longer on it. She definitely deserves kind of more airtime, better storylines. I think in the future she deserves to be the top holder of the prize in the women's division.
Yeah.
And then it looks like we had a little bit of a title change there.
Yep, the Intercontinental Championship. Ricochet versus Gunther. And this was a killer match.
I heard Gunther pretty much dominated the match, but in the right way.
Yeah. Ricochet never was able to really
get any kind of offense.
No, he got the offense. He just never was able to make enough impact to get the 3 count. He got quite a few pinfalls on him. Well, pins.
Pinfall attempts.
Yeah. And it ended up being a great match, but, I mean, up against Gunther, come on, man.
Yeah, well...
You're going to get smacked.
In theory, I don't think you want the size and athleticism of Gunther. Gunther! Jesus. Sorry, still recouping.
No, he's got that killer chop.
Well, killer chop. He's very technical, mat technical. Yep. I mean, the guy...
He's disciplined.
To have that guy lose, not taking anything from Ricochet, don't get me wrong. Ricochet's a fine talent. But to have a dominant, stout force like Gunther, I think this was probably one of the best calls we've seen. Next to Rhea Ripley winning that Fatal 4-Way.
I think it was perfect execution on timing because really the hype of the Intercontinental Championship, like you said, no offense to Ricochet, but it's kind of just diminished.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it made Ricochet look weak in any way, shape, or form. It's just he had a worthy opponent that was just more dominant. And
he knocked the crap out of him, really.
Yeah, I don't know if it would have made sense to have Ricochet defeat a guy or a talent like Gunther.
No.
And then moving on to the main event. Riddle defeating Sami Zayn, which there were some stipulations in that match, I hear.
There sure were. Riddle was not going to be allowed back on SmackDown if he lost. But if he won against Zayn, not only is Zayn officially out of the bloodline, but Riddle is now going to get a shot. I believe it's next week on SmackDown against the Universal Champion.
Wow. So we know what next week's main event's looking like already then.
Yeah, and this was a great match. They did a really, really good job. Zayn held in there. He held his character really well. One of the things that really pushed this match along was having Paul Heyman on commentary. Just bringing up that factor of what happens if Riddle wins. What happens if Riddle wins. And then, of course, after Riddle wins, Bloodline comes out, the Usos, and they give the classic beatdown.
On Sami Zayn or on Riddle?
Riddle, actually. Sami Zayn got out of the ring quicker than I think I realized.
Probably because he didn't want to get the beatdown, I'm sure.
No, yeah, they're going to address that, I'm sure of it.
Well, and I think this kind of sets up to where I've been kind of thinking along the lines. I actually was talking with another Twitter user about the Bloodline situation. I want to say it was a couple of weeks ago. But he was saying, how much longer can they go with having Roman and the Bloodline continue their dominance? And it's like what I mentioned. I think this has actually been the best thing WWE's done in a while, unifying the titles. The problem with keep doing the stinking brand splits, it only runs its course for so long, and people get tired of it because they never really follow their own mold with the whole brand splits. They still eventually have talent show up on the shows that they're not assigned to.
Right, and I think it brings a lot more focus to the quality of the matches that they have in their big events.
Right. And see, here's where I'm kind of thinking they really should do. I think they should have Raw and SmackDown take place on either USA or Fox, and have NXT be on whichever one Raw and SmackDown will not be on. Meaning, have Raw and SmackDown on USA and NXT on Fox, or move Raw and SmackDown to Fox and keep NXT on USA. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because here's kind of my worry about the whole situation, unless there's something we don't know about when it comes to the TV contracts. I think at some point, if WWE goes away from the brand splits, there's probably going to be some hurt feelings between USA and Fox, because I think they made it clear when they set up all the negotiations and contracts that, hey, we want these certain superstars. This is where our interest is.
Yeah.
Let's...
There's a lot of red tape behind the scenes there.
Right. And I think it's going to get a little scary here, because now that, I don't know if you heard, but I guess Stephanie McMahon is no longer with WWE, is what it's been reported.
Yeah, I read about it.
I thought it was just kind of taking a hiatus, but it sounds like she has been pretty much written off the books.
Yep.
And it's for the right reasons. I really truly believe, if I can talk, I really truly believe Stephanie is not with WWE. Man,
Come on, buddy.
I'm really sucking today. I really truly believe Steph is not there because of the situation with making sure she's taking care of her family, especially with Hunter's health problems as of late. But yeah, I'm a little concerned at what the direction WWE is going in, because let's face it, Vince is upper 70s. Anymore, it seems like Nick Khan is going to be taking more and more of the higher roles of the company. I'm just not. I'm a little unsure of what's going to happen here shortly. I'm not saying WWE's ever going to go under. I mean, they're in a great way as far as staying alive. But I think we're kind of starting to see some disasters appear here.
Yeah. Personally, I think that having the shareholders controlling a bunch of what's going on is kind of conflicting with the people who normally run it, and there's too many damn cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah. Too much management, not enough workers, and
especially when they want to go in different directions.
Well, and the problem with a lot of the shareholders is, like you mentioned, they don't have a whole lot of the experience in knowing what it's like to be in the wrestling business. They just want to base it off what they see rather than what they know. And hopefully we're going to see some better outcomes here shortly. I don't know. But anyways, enough rambling. We're going to go break, and after the break, we'll start getting into the AEW side of things for the week. Alrighty, let's talk some AEW this week. Dynamite for Wednesday, June 8th. In the first match, we had a casino battle royale, looks like, for the chance to take on Jon Moxley in the main event of the night.
Yep, we did.
It
was crazy.
This kind of struck me a little odd for, even Tony Khan's creative.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you just, if we're going to have an interim championship or an interim champion tournament to crown the interim champion, wouldn't you just, well, I guess it's not a tournament, but wouldn't you have a tournament for that?
Normally that's the direction they would go. The other thing that was kind of off to me about this choice was a big event like that you would normally hold, kind of towards the end.
Well, I guess what made me scratch my head is why wouldn't Hangman Adam Page be the one that main events the Casino Battle Royale winner? Especially being the fact that he's the one that just dropped the title to Punk at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from Jon Moxley. I love Jon Moxley. I just think the proper thing would have been was to put Page right in that role.
Yeah. There was some interesting things with this battle royal. One of the most notable was, I believe it was Idolo, delivered a midair low blow with his arm.
How the hell do you manage that?
Somebody was going to flip over him, and he just, boom.
Really?
Raised his arm and got him.
Just got the right aim, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, low blows again.
I am excited that O'Reilly was the winner of this match.
Yeah, O'Reilly's been on one hell of a roll lately since debuting in the company. The one thing I did want to make a weird note, I guess we saw Swerve eliminate Keith Lee.
He did.
Did I read that right?
He eliminated him, and he giggled about it.
Swerve giggled about it, or Lee did?
Oh, yeah, he stared straight at Keith Lee. And...
Wow.
Yep.
That's a good way to continue your friendship, I guess.
If I remember right, there were a couple of those moments. I can't remember who the other was with, but I believe there were two different partners that ended up eliminating their teammate.
Well, any mad for themselves, I guess, when it's the top prize.
Pretty much.
So, moving on, was it this week or last week that they showed the debut of the All-Atlantic Championship?
It was this week.
It was this week?
Yes.
I remember posting it on our Facebook group, but I actually got I'm sure everybody got to see the look of the championship belt itself, and I have to say that
it looks good.
It looks as good as like the new AEW Women's Championship belt.
Yeah, and I really, really like the theme behind this championship. I hope they stick to it.
Yes. My only worry is even now with the Trios Championship coming into play, are we getting to see too many titles in AEW?
It's possible.
I mean, to me, I would have just, if with the way Tony Khan's looking to go direction Ring of Honor, I would have just left the Ring of Honor 6-man tag titles there and not do anything with that type of a championship here in AEW. But
never know, though, because they've really we've seen it. There's been a major increase in them picking up talent.
yeah,
So there's plenty of people.
Yeah.
It's just now we're to the question of how are they going to deliver more content? They're going to have to expand.
well, and I was talking with another Twitter user about a couple of months back. She asked me if I saw Tony Khan doing anything with Ring of Honor, and it's like what I told her. He said, look, he purchased the promotion just before their scheduled pay-per-view, the Super Card of Honor. Unfortunately for Tony, picking it up, being that close to a scheduled pay-per-view event, Tony has a lot of things going on already. He's got to see everything for what Ring of Honor was, but the things you had to consider was he didn't buy any talent because everybody was already released of their contract.
Yeah.
Everyone scheduled for the pay-per-view was pretty much like on a kind of a, no, not sure what the proper way to say it, but on a temporary contract. Kind of like a handshake deal, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, it might have been a little too soon to pick up that while he's still busy building AEW.
But, yeah, he's got to now focus on how he's going to structure Ring of Honor alongside with AEW. He eventually wants Ring of Honor to stand on its own legs, which I think he can make it happen. I have plenty of faith. He's taken AEW now into the it's now about to be 3 years AEW's been going strong. And like I said, I think Tony Khan's he's got what it takes to make Ring of Honor be more successful than Ring of Honor's two previous owners.
I would put Mr. White over to Ring of Honor, honestly.
Mr. White?
Yeah. All white?
Oh. Well, you never say never.
Yeah, have him run it. Like, he's got the experience over all these years.
Well, him and Mark Henry both. I mean, there's lots of people that could probably run that promotion.
I wouldn't even mind seeing Taz over there.
Yeah, Taz could do a great job with those guys as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, now that we sidetracked,
Pac versus Buddy Matthews.
Pac gets the win over Buddy, it looks like.
Yeah, it was an excellent match as you would expect out of these two. Both of them are just superb athletes. But eventually we got to see the Black Arrow and the Pac victory.
And I also take a note on the other side of the brackets. We're going to see Penta Oscuro go up against, was it Malachi?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so this is going to be interesting because I think we'll eventually see Malachi get the victory, and who knows? I think maybe we're going to see these two in the finals for that championship.
That would be an amazing match.
Moving on to the third match for the night, Hangman Adam Page gets the win over David Finlay, another great talent.
Yeah, this was not bad at all. David Finlay is definitely like his dad.
Yeah.
But he's got more movesets.
Well, he's a little more modernized than what his father is. His father's old school, but David Finlay, who's kind of a little more of a risk taker too than what his father is.
Yeah.
You know,
Finlay had a good solid ground game.
Yeah. And well, I don't really have much to add to it because, like I said, all I did was cliff note it this week.
No, it was a killer match. There was quite a few times where it looked pretty bad for Hangman. And Hangman kind of messed himself up. His knees, a little jacked up. He had a hard time getting around.
Now, did he do it during the match or pre-match?
During.
Uh,
So hopefully that doesn't hold him back too much. We'll see. Wardlow, I want to mention, came out, explained why he wasn't part of the Battle Royal. He basically said he wants CM Punk at his best.
well, and that's pretty much a respectable thing.
For now, though, he's issued a challenge to Scorpio Sky.
Yeah, and I didn't really comprehend much of that when I was trying to read through it. Did Scorpio accept the challenge, or
He came out, and of course, Dan the Man came out as well as Ethan Page. And, Sky being Sky. Yeah, we're going to do this. Let's go right now. Got stopped. No, you're injured. Not right now.
no? So classic heel deal.
Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to watch those two clash, though.
Yeah, and I think right now,
If there's anybody I think that could sell it against Wardlow, it would be Scorpio Sky.
oh yeah, for sure. But I do think maybe it is just, even though he's a big guy, I don't think right now is the right moment for Wardlow to go capture the AEW championship or even be in that match yet. Not
No.
saying he hasn't earned it, but I think he's better to kind of go old traditional, start at the bottom tier championship and then work his way up,
Yeah.
Kind of like what they used to do in WWF back in the day. You start your way to superstardom by capturing the tag team championship, then the intercontinental championship, and then become the world champion. And I think that's almost a similar direction they can do with Wardlow, but Wardlow doesn't really necessarily need to be in a tag team. I think just staying as a single star, start him out on the TNT championship, and then who knows, down the road, have him go for that top prize, the AEW World Championship. Wouldn't be a bad situation either way.
Yeah. So, going to the Thunder Rosa versus Marina Shafir. And this was for the
Women's Championship.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say it's a weird match. It was a weird match. These two styles do not mesh well.
No.
Marina's kind of...
I think Marina's too green.
I think she's had a lot of struggles with trying to get fluid inside the ring. And you're seeing more of that MMA background where she's really, really stiff.
Right. Well, and I don't think she had a real fair shot in NXT. I think they let her go way too soon.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen NXT do a little more with her and Jessamine Duke after Shayna Baszler went to main roster. Or even then they should have moved Duke and Shafir with Shayna to keep that faction going,
Yeah.
I think they could have been one hell of a faction on the main roster if they kept them three together.
Yeah, she's another one of those people who just really needs more time with mentorship.
Well, yeah, get her in the ring with some veterans, keep her on dark and elevation for a little while.
I think the perfect person to train her is the same person who's working with somebody else right now. Isn't it Jade Cargill?
Yeah, Jade. Christ. Jade Cargill has been working with Daniel Bryan
And
with her in-ring skills, and you've seen what a hell of an improvement Jade's done with.
Yeah, and given the similarity of the style with, Bryan Danielson and Marina Shafir, I think he could take her top level.
Yeah, I think so. I think if she worked with Daniel or hell, even Taz a bit, I think Taz would be a great mentor to Sharina based on her style.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it looks like Thunder Rosa retains the title, which
She did.
definitely the best move. Not sure why they would put this match together so quickly for Marina.
Yeah, there was no build-up.
Especially when, she just recently lost to Jade as a challenging for the TBS championship not too long ago.
Yeah, and the promo that they had right before it was awkward too. They just basically had her come in to Thunder Rosa's interview and just kind of stand at her and say, I'm your problem now.
Yeah, and I get the gimmick that she's the problem, but I think we need to find something, or they need to find something different for Marina.
Yeah.
Gimmick wise.
So then we get to the main event.
Jon Moxley defeating Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah, this was a brutal match. Absolutely brutal.
Oh, anything with Jon Moxley now, I think, is gonna pretty much be already.
O'Reilly freaking dished it out pretty good.
Did he?
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's pretty much safe to assume that anything with Jon Moxley or Daniel Bryan, it's gonna be brutal matches for quite a while, as long as the Blackpool Combat Club is gonna be going.
Yeah. This, like I said, just a brutal match. Kyle O'Reilly really brought it. Jon Moxley always performing at the same level.
Well, Kyle O'Reilly's been on fire, like I said, ever since his debut. I think the guy's got a lot of places to go. He's definitely shown he's not just a tag team wrestler. I mean, back in the his Ring of Honor days, if he was good enough to win the Ring of Honor World Championship, he's good enough to win any kind of World Championship.
Yeah, I really felt like he was underutilized and underrated in NXT.
Oh, yeah. I think if there was a championship match between him and Adam Cole, I think I would have went with Kyle O'Reilly, because I believe it was Kyle O'Reilly who... I can't remember if Kyle O'Reilly defeated Adam Cole or Bobby Fish for the Ring of Honor World Championship. I gotta go back and look at the history. But nonetheless, yeah, Kyle O'Reilly definitely on fire. But, going with Jon Moxley as far as how it was written was probably the better move, especially to keep kind of the
Blackpool going.
Kind of Blackpool Combat Club's dominance over the companies. One thing I did want to kind of go back to, though, I guess Hangman Adam Page had a little bit of a promo where he said he had some thoughts on the whole AEW championship deal, but I guess he's made an issue or a challenge to the IWGP championship.
Yes, he did.
I think that would definitely be an interesting match. I guess that he made the challenge for Forbidden Door, is that right?
He did, and along with that, Adam Cole was actually out there on commentary for this, and he interrupted.
Of course.
And, of course, wants to put himself in that position.
Oh, who knows? Maybe we might see... maybe we'll see something kind of broken tradition with Forbidden Door, where we might see a triple threat match or a triple threat style match for the IWGP Championship at Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
This definitely would be an interesting situation. But overall, it looked like Dynamite had lesser matches than normal this week.
They did.
Which I'm going to guess there was more promo time based on what this card looked like.
The Battle Royal kind of took up a bunch of time.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess that would make sense. I didn't really factor that in.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that took up a good, maybe 30, 40 minutes?
I believe it was 30 minutes, and you also had a promo with Ospreay.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Attacking.
Will Ospreay came in.
Yeah. He came in with some other people as well. And
yeah, Aussie Open.
Yeah, that moves over to a match that takes place on Rampage.
Which I'm pretty much say it's a safe bet that we're going to see Will Ospreay and Aussie Open at Forbidden Door, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah.
Which would make sense, being, Ospreay's well known as in the New Japan promotion. All right, let's finish it off with AEW Rampage from Friday night, June 10th. We had Eddie Kingston defeating Jake Hager, had Satnam Singh and Jay Lethal defeating apparently what I read is just two jobbers.
Yeah, Vega and Fitchett.
Okay. Chris Statlander gets the win over Red Velvet, and in the main event, the team of FTR and Trent Beretta defeating the team of Aussie Open and Will Ospreay. Why don't we just go ahead and start off with the whole Kingston Jake Hager deal?
Yeah, this was a killer match, and I never ever think I'll see a match that has Eddie Kingston in it that I'm gonna dislike. Not unless they just kill the match off in 10 seconds. He's amazing. He's got some good technique. He's brutal. He's street style. And then up against Hager, like, I honestly thought the match was going to go different. I thought Hager was going to get the obvious victory.
Yeah, and you would think being Hager's MMA background and being a really well-known amateur wrestler, but props to Eddie Kingston. And I want to give a shout-out to a Twitter friend of mine, at Jack Cassidy. He made a tweet out there earlier this week that says nobody would have heard of Eddie Kingston if it wasn't for AEW, and I have to totally agree with that. If you weren't an indie fanatic, you didn't know who Eddie Kingston was.
I certainly didn't.
And AEW has done a lot for Eddie as far as recognition, and you know what? Eddie's taken the ball, run with it, and he's made something big of himself with AEW. And I hope he continues with it.
Which is also one of the reasons you constantly see Kingston saying All Elite Forever.
Oh, yeah. And I hope he does finish his entire career with that company. The one company that took a big chance on him, and he, like I said, he turned himself into gold. He's over with the fans. I mean, you don't hear a night even when he was in his old school heel mode, you know. Fans were still cheering for this guy. They were behind him. And I love seeing that.
Yep. Moving on to the Jay Lethal and Satnam Singh versus Vega and Fitchett. This was as unimpressive as any squash match I've ever seen.
In other words, nothing much to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not everything's a winner, but unfortunately this was definitely the non-winner for the night. Then we move on to Chris Statlander getting the win over Red Velvet.
Yeah, so this match was really vicious, and it was a great match. It went pretty much how I figured it would go. Statlander, she's just an amazing talent. There's not much anybody can say or do about that. Velvet is definitely getting better. You had the baddies sitting, outside of the ring.
Basically ringside seats.
Right. And eventually, after Statlander got the win, of course, she's attacked.
The numbers game like usual, basically.
Yeah. But you also saw Anna Jay come out.
Nothing prevailed from that, because I see that Athena tried to come out, but security held her up.
Yeah,
So what's up with that? I thought she was signed to an All Elite contract.
I don't know, but I'll tell you right now, the security team did an amazing job of catching that speeding bullet.
Oh, Lordy. Yeah. That's a slap your head moment.
Yeah, and I mean, it turned into a promotion where, of course, Cargill's running her mouth.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's good promo, mic skill-wise.
Yeah.
At first, her in-ring work, like we mentioned earlier, wasn't great, but ever since she's worked with Bryan Danielson, she's taken it up quite a notch. Major improvement in the ring. Her mic skills are right there. I think she's going to be a future AEW Women's Champion.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that she's getting the start that she's getting. just being elevated to that high of a match that quick.
Right. And her undefeated streak.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope they keep that going for a little while.
Okay. And then, you know, Will Ospreay and Aussie Open, who I'd never seen wrestle until this match, versus FTR and Trent Beretta. And this match was one that I wrote, wow. Just the amount of athleticism between all of these guys.
Not to stop you, have you watched Will Ospreay before?
Nope,
This?
never once even heard of him. And when he came out and he's done what he's done, I'm stuck.
Yeah, if you ever get time, I encourage you to go back and watch a lot of his New Japan promotion matches. Another one to kind of look at is Zack Sabre Jr. Both of those guys are awesome talent from that respective promotion that they very rarely you ever see them have a bad match. And Will Ospreay, I actually got to meet him and got a picture with him on the Jericho Cruise back from October. I'll have to show that to you if you haven't seen it.
Haven't.
But yeah, he had the IWGP Championship with him that Dan McMahon, the belt maker, recently did for that promotion, which was a pretty damn good looking title. But it didn't even, he couldn't even wear the title around his waist because it was just a little too big for him.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, this was a great match. Obviously, like I said, very physical. FTR and Trent Beretta scored the win. It was actually Beretta who got the pinfall. And obviously also FTR doing a great job of still keeping the separation between them and Beretta.
Yeah.
But still work together.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to a match like this, you need to be a cohesive unit, in some way. But I do find it interesting with Will Ospreay and Aussie Open coming into the promotion, especially now with the timing of AEW introducing the Trios tag title coming into play. Who knows? Maybe we might see a future contender for those championships right there.
Yep.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the Wrestling Fans Insight. I want to thank Will for doing a lot of the work this week. I was a little unprepared, and we'll get back to normal programming by next week. We're going to look at changing up the formats a little bit, too. I know I've pretty much been saying that the last few weeks, but we are going to try to take the show to some different formats. Like to hopefully get a little bit more fan interaction in here, too. Remember, we're not experts or anything. We're just fans giving our reviews, and the more fans we get to interact would be even better for this program. I want to take the time to say thank you to Libsyn.com for hosting our podcast show every week. We couldn't do it without their service. Also want to give a big shout out to Pixabay.com for allowing us to donate money to download some pretty much royalty-free music to use for our intro, commercial breaks, and our exit. Also, on top of that, thank you to Coma Media and Light Saturation for allowing us to use their music from Pixabay.com. Also, you may want to leave us a voicemail. Who knows, it might get on our show. You can give us a call and leave us any kind of a message there at area code 385-367-4772. I am also on Twitter at John, JOHN, WF Insight, spelled like the show, INCITE. You can catch me on there. I'm going to get back into doing my little fantasy booker, I guess you can say, questions, where I pretty much ask which talent you would prefer. Like, for example, like last week, I think I did Powers of Pain or Viking Raiders, and It's amazing how many people said Viking Raiders over the Powers of Pain. You would think the old school would have a little more advantage, but the Viking Raiders got the win on that one. But yeah, it's always fun to interact on Twitter, and I do more than just wrestling on Twitter as well. So I can have a great community going on. Feel free to join me on that platform. And also, you can listen to our podcast on any major platform: Spotify, iHeartRadio, iOS, Apple, Player FM, quite a few other major platforms out there. And you can also join us on Facebook. I almost forgot about that. Our Facebook group. You can find us in the groups under the Fans of Pro Wrestling. Other than that, anything you for the everybody else out there, Will?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, everybody, we'll catch you all next week. Hope you have a great time. Be safe, be well to each other, and be kind.